it's authentic, and I think it has to be authentic. You know, it's the most important thing.
Hello and welcome to another chance to meet the judges of the Making Waves Film Festival. Now tonight I'll be speaking to Corinne Strickett, who comes at this from a slightly different angle because she is an actor and a writer, so she spends more time in front of the camera than behind it. She's fairly new to Portsmouth, and she tells me she's quite keen to connect with local creatives and filmmakers, so maybe look at the website and reach out to her there. Hi Corinne, welcome to Portsmouth.
Thank you very much.
So you're bringing a slightly different angle to the judging panel on this, because your background is as much in front of the camera, and you're an actor on those bases. Tell me a little bit about how that affects your judging, what you think you'd be looking for in the films that are coming in.
Well, I've started watching them. I've watched about 12 of them already, and started judging them. And I think what I'm looking for is really good. Also, with when I'm actually reading short stories, I like to be hooked in straight away. I do read quite a lot of shorts, and with the films that I've watched so far, the ones that I've graded quite highly are ones that really capture my interest straight away, and they have a storyline that goes through the simplest ideas, but as long as they have a trajectory, they take me somewhere. I think that was my criteria. You know, I want to be propelled forward. I want for it to come to some sort of conclusion, you know, in that short space of time, in that 10 minutes or whatever it is. And I think that's true of short stories, because I've been reading some Margaret Atwood ones recently, and it's a similar thing. They were just such good short stories because they were complete in themselves. But I think it has to grab me right at the beginning.
So in terms of directors who may be watching this, who are possibly thinking of entering this particular competition, or maybe others, it's a very different skill, writing for or directing cameras, or directing actors. Would you have any advice? Also, even from the writing stage, from the very early stage, I should imagine having that empathy with an actor, with a character. Would you have any advice for a director, writer who's working on something that they're bringing in actors for?
I like to work with a director collaboratively, even if it is a short, because I've done a lot of short films, and I like a collaborative relationship. So I like a director to have a clear vision of what they want, but I like there to be some movement within that, so we can discuss ideas. I think that works really well, like a more of a team effort rather than just someone telling you to stand there and do this, do that. You know, that's the sort of director I like to work with personally, and they're the films that have tended to work very well, short films.
So in terms of short films, you've certainly read a lot, and you've read a lot of scripts. Do you write? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I haven't written any screenplays, but I've written quite a lot of short stories that could be turned into screenplays, actually. I haven't written things for quite a while, but that's something I want to get back into, actually. My sisters write screenplays, but yeah, I really like, because I did an English degree, so I used to write a lot when I was doing my English degree. So that was before I had the confidence to do any sort of drama. I studied drama, but I didn't actually have the confidence to do it until much later. So I went to drama school much later. But yeah, the writing side fascinates me. I mean, I journal every day, and I read a copious amount of books, as you can see from my bookshelf. I love reading, and I think the whole writing, you know, is such an art form. It fascinates me, so I'd like to do more of it, actually.
There's been a bit of a theme running through these interviews, mostly on my part, I guess. But as you mentioned, just in terms of not having the confidence to do that, I know that you also do drama therapy. if there is people watching this, if there are people watching this who feel that they'd love to do something, but it is tricky putting what you think is your best film, your best artwork, your best writing, whatever, into the public arena is a tricky thing. What would you advise people to do?
Be brave. I think they say it's like giving birth, and it's like your child being put out there. And I think, you know, when as an actor, we're doing self-tapes all the time for different casting directors. And, you know, that goes out there, and it's the same sort of thing, really. You're putting it out there to be judged and to be criticized. And I think you just have to do the very best that you can do, put it out there, and then move on. I think that's always the advice that actors are given when you're auditioning and when you're doing self-tapes, is just to do the very best you can do and be confident in that, and then put it out there and then move on. Because I think
when you're writing and you're writing short stories, or stories that, as you say, could be turned into screenplays, I mean, where do you draw inspiration from? How do you, if somebody has maybe an idea, or they like the idea of making it, but they don't really feel that they have the strength of ideas, where do you personally draw experience from, and how do you then turn that into written form?
I tend to I have a writing journal that I carry around with me, a little book, and I pick up a lot of pieces of dialogue from people. I listen to people. I'm terribly nosy. I sit in cafes and I listen to wonderful bits of conversation that I've gathered over the years. People walking past, I write things down. I listen a lot. I listen a lot to people. News articles. I mean, you know, the truth is stranger than fiction. It really is. You know, amazing stories that come out of the papers and on Google, and also I think from my own experience, I'm writing something at the moment about my experiences, and I think that's the best you can do, actually, is stuff that you can write from the heart, because it's authentic, and I think it has to be authentic. You know, it's the most important thing. When I'm watching film, it has to be authentic. I have to see it's true. It's obviously artifice, but it's the authenticity in that subtlety of that look and that expression. It's very important to me, that.
So that's interesting. So that, in terms of directing, that is very much about directing the actors, but also camera angles, and if you've got, you know, because I know that you said before that you've done theatre work, and the subtlety of a look is obviously completely different in the world of cinema than it is in theatre. Yes. Maybe tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's very interesting, because I've been doing some theatre in Brighton that I do every year, and it's me on stage on my own, and then I do a two-hander with somebody else. But it's a small theatre. It's a back box theatre. But yeah, it's the tiniest thing on film. There was a film I saw recently, and it was absolutely beautiful film. There was one expression, the tiniest expression, that did not work, and it was so minute. And yet the rest of the film was so beautiful, but it can ruin it. It's incredible. It just didn't. It wasn't truthful. And
it's really interesting you say that. A lot of time, I mean, I do a lot of work if you're working with a presenter, and the key to it obviously is basically, it could be the 50th time you've done it, but you've got to make it like it's the first time you've done it, and it's got to be authentic, because it's gonna live forever. And it's quite interesting you talk about that, and you say you talked about one that didn't work, because generally people do talk about these things. So there was a great look, but when there is one small thing, and it's just worth doing again and giving yourself some choices in the edit suite, I suspect.
I mean, that's my personal opinion of that particular film and that particular look. I mean, it may, to other people, may not have been, but just to my mind, it wasn't truthful. But it's all very subjective, isn't it? I mean, what's authentic to me may not be authentic to somebody else. I don't know, you know.
So I guess it's details that
It's
are very
details.
important. It's all about,
Details.
it's a big screen unless you're watching on your iPhone.
Exactly.
Especially if you're at number 6.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Corinne. I hope you enjoy the rest of the films that will be coming through.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really enjoying them. Yeah, I'm really enjoying them. Really enjoying watching it, and it's a real privilege to watch people's work and to see such talent and variety.
Excellent. Well, maybe we see you on the night where we air the films. Thanks ever so much, and you take care.
Thank you very much. Thank you.